When I was in my 40s, I was like prematurely old, tending to my garden just for the psychological benefits of just having that experience of going out there and pruning stuff and pulling weeds and you know, picking tomatoes from time to time, and I love that. And I haven't done that in recent years because I've been too busy. So that's what this is like for me now. I'm just out in a natural space, just doing little errands, just little busy things, not that important, but it just kind of helps me relax. I feel zero stress when I'm out here. I think I'm gonna move this basket. It's short right now. I put it close to the bunker. I'll probably just put it back. I'll put it a little bit on the long side of normal rather than the short side of normal. And it levels out over here a little bit too. Stay out of number 17's tee box. I think this is where I want to be. Where's the fairway? Where's the tree? Where's the green? Oh, this is a little closer to the green than usual. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? Help stabilize it a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll take that. As a kid, I was a frisbee player, right? Back then, there wasn't disc golf in a well understood way. Certainly weren't beveled edge discs. So in the 70s, I played catch. You know, I saw how far I could throw it down the street, threw discs on the neighbors' roofs. That's what kids did, you know, when you're 10, 11 years old, right? And by the time I got to high school, our senior lawn was where you could find me. It's just one little patch of grass in this urban high school I went to, and we'd play catch and terrorize anybody who dared cross it. And I could throw the length of it. It was probably like 50 yards. And I could throw a 165. And so that was, you know, I was quite proud of that. And I grew up in LA about 10 miles from the beach, so I learned to throw it into the wind over the water, and I couldn't get enough of it. When I got to junior college, I started a disc golf club. This would have been 1981. And by 1982, a member of the club said, "Hey, do you know about disc golf?" "No." "Do you know about competitive play?" "No." Never heard of that stuff. You know, I just thought frisbee was playing catch and going to the beach and throwing it in the wind or something. And we did a little road trip as a club to Huntington Beach. It was my first course in '82. And that kind of started me on a path to disc golf becoming my priority. There was this idea to have a course here. The district approved it, and we're like, where are we going to put it? And they said, well, it's going to be out here where it's, you know, a bunch of barren land. So this whole area, we're going to have to bring in a bunch of dirt and level it out. I'm like, okay, great, fine, whatever. So the next thing you know, this guy Neil Bondi is getting in touch with me. Hey, Leonard, man, my company's going to do this planning for all the dirt out there. You want to do mounds? You want to do anything interesting shape-wise? What do you think? And so next thing you know, I'm out here like a traditional golf course designer, you know, working with somebody on drainage and shaping the earth to contours for our course. Immediately I knew what that meant, but it never occurred to me that, hey, we're bringing earth in. Would you shape it to my spec, please? People look at it, it's been 7 years now and it's still not open. And it's easy to assume it's just a bureaucratic nightmare, blah, blah, blah. It's a huge park district and it can be complex over there. But really, it's mostly because it is a landfill and they put 200,000 cubic yards of dirt over our course, which is, it's like 2,000 truckloads. Is that right? No, it's more like 25,000 truckloads of dirt. It's just insane. So all this dirt to the right is in the last 4 or 5 months. So that's taken bloody forever. But in the meantime, the district and I keep talking about what would make the course better. Oh, wait, we need to fix this drainage. Well, that's fine, because then I can move the path over here and then we can have a wider fairway. So to their credit, that 5 acres for 9 holes with no trees is now 18 holes, 2 baskets on every hole, 2 tee on every hole, which gives you 2 baskets, not 2 sleeves. I snuck in a 3rd sleeve and later asked permission and they said fine. But that's 72 different ways to play the course every day. It's on 28 acres, and we planted 300 trees. The short basket is on the hairy mound right there on the left. You see be out in the open. The long basket is where the cones are. Even the original concept, if that's all they were willing to do, I would have said, yes, thank you. And then we will establish what disc golf is, and then we can talk about better sites later, right? But this now actually looks like it can be pretty good. It's right along the water. You can see the planes landed, Oakland International. It'll be windy, of course, but it's a big space. It's going to have the most caution signs on this course that I think of all the courses I've ever seen combined. It might turn out to be, rather than just an entryway into that district, it may turn out to be one of our better courses once the trees grow. I'm not, of the superstitious variety, right? I think things happen for a reason and all that, but that's just some stuff that I find happening in my disc golf efforts, where I'm trying real hard to make things happen, and I'm like, man, that was lucky how that happened to be that way. And there's a whole lot of that with this course. In 84, 85, there was a hacky sack and frisbee festival. Whammo used to do this touring event where they'd go to parks just to promote their brand, and they'd bring a ton of hacky sacks and frisbees and a couple local hot shots, and they'd pump it up as best they could and get a couple hundred people from the general community out in the park. So we're gonna have one here in Marks Meadow. Charlie Callahan organized it, and somehow Charlie and I connected, and it's like, he says, you want to set up some disc golf there? So sure. So I borrowed my girlfriend's Camaro, because this is how deep my pockets were at the time. I didn't even have a car. I borrowed a Camaro, came from Oakland. On the way over, I stole some of those, what do they call them? Candlesticks, the highway cones, the vertical highway cones. I literally pulled over on the side of the road, took them off the highway, threw them in the trunk of her car, and came over here in the morning and started laying them out in the area we're sitting in now for 9 holes of disc golf. So in 87, WIFDIF said, what are we going to do 88? I said, I can do it. I bet you I can do it in Golden Gate Park. And so it was it's 6 days of competition. The formats are huge. 120 players, 17 countries, which I think was the most countries we ever had represented. It may still be the most countries. We had a handful of people show up from Taiwan. We're like, how did you guys get here? A big part of that event was the 24-hole golden horseshoe layout that I called it. And we had the run of the place. I had 2 lake shots right through the middle of the meadows. People really loved that course and loved the idea of playing a disc golf in Golden Gate Park. And there were now people locally saying, can we do that more? Is it a straight line? Obviously not. There was big events in Speedway in the late 70s that I never freaking heard about, but I've heard the stories about them. Victor Malafronte throwing a 500-foot Super Pro. Now that was 10 years roughly before Hacky Sack and Frisbee Festival. And then that was 3 years before WIFDIF. And that was before Safari. And then Safari eventually, a community of players said, hey, San Francisco, can we have a course? So they're all there, they're all connected. But I see that there's so much else that has to be brewing there and so much more energy that needs to come to that. All right, picked up the pace here. Stabilizer, Swan Wizard, okay, that's good. I feel like I'm missing something though. Yep, I dumped one bin last weekend and couldn't replace it. Was it this one? No, that ain't it. Oh, it's on the ground already over there, okay. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like 20 hours of work to load, unload, set up, reload, and then, I gotta put it back in the garage when I get home. It's like 20 hours overhead every time I do my full store. It's so, it adds up to minimum wage, but that's not how I'm measuring what I'm getting out of it. When I was in high school, I threw parties, the most benign parties ever, right? We weren't drinkers and smokers, and there wasn't a lot of shenanigans, but I had parties all the time. Creating fun for other people was always a thing for me, so that's more the thing, yeah. And honestly, with COVID, I need it now more. Before it was just positive. It was a bonus on top of whatever else is going on in my life. Now I'm like, I need to escape. And so I probably am pushing harder in this domain than I ever have. 16, now 8, 25, and 20 is 45. Even out here late last night, having the course to myself, trying to work on things, it was just a great moment of just peace. You know, nobody else out here, just darkness after a little bit of a rainstorm, and it was glorious. And I didn't have to think about anything else except I got to go take the brush to the next tee pad so it doesn't have bark on it when the players show up in the morning.
I'm already replacing them all for the OTB Open.
So what I'm looking for now is just making sure the baskets are upright and all the flags are in place, because a week ago there was a big windstorm up here and some of the flags blew off the poles. And when I came out to check them, I didn't have enough flags to and then the wind always seems to blow the number plates in the wrong direction. How is that possible? That one actually wasn't too far off. But most of them are 180 degrees the wrong way. How does that happen? So that's mainly what I do, is I just check to make sure the baskets are upright, and then I brush the tees. And then I tweak something. It's like, yeah.
I think all ultimate players take pride in gumming up the course and throwing farther than you guys.